Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, we will proceed with the calculation part for this chapter, project management. So as written in your slides, there are two techniques will be used for evaluating a project. The first method we call it as project evaluation and review technique, or PERT, P-E-R-T. And the second technique is CPM, or critical path method. So these two techniques will be used together at the same time, simultaneously. Okay, before we proceed with drawing the PERT network diagram. Okay, PERT diagram, PERT technique is a technique that requires you to draw a diagram. So before we proceed to drawing the diagram, there are a few rules for you to understand first. So these rules are available in your textbook. You can see on page 163. Okay, it starts from 162. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few basic rules first. Then we will discover more rules once we go along. Okay, first thing is how to draw PERT diagram. It is quite similar to your precedence diagram. There are some differences only. Okay, first thing to draw is you need to draw number 1. Okay, not to say number 1 lah, number and a circle. So this is called as a node or event. So I will be using these two words along the way, nodes or events. So this node and event, it shows a sequence of operation. Turutan untuk melaksanakan tugas dalam nak menyiapkan projek tu, we will look at as in a form of number. Number 1 means sequence number 1, number 2, 3, 4, it shows the sequence, second sequence, third sequence, and so on. Okay, so now after understanding this sequence, the next thing for you to understand is how to draw the activity or the task. Okay, so the activity or the task will be drawn like this, on an arrow. First, you draw a sequence number. Then you draw an arrow. The arrow must be in a straight line. It doesn't matter whether you draw straight over here, straight up or down. Okay, so but it must be a straight line. So activity will be drawn on the arrow. So where to write the activity name? It is written on the arrow. So let's say activity A. In order to complete a project, activity A must be done. So first we draw activity A. It must be on the arrow like this. So for example, activity A here takes 5 weeks. Okay, so project management involves duration that is quite long, weeks, days, or months, not minutes and seconds. That refers to your precedence diagram. So it involves days, weeks, or months. So where to write the duration for each activity it is written next to the activity. So let's say activity A takes 5 weeks. So 5 is written next to the activity. Okay, so this is how you draw an activity. Activity name is above the arrow, and the activity duration is next to the activity name. Okay. Next, we go to the most important rule. So this rule I'm going to show you in a form of situation A and situation B. So let's look at the first situation A. So let's say this is the question. I'm going to use this as an example. The question that will be given to you is almost similar to your precedence diagram questions. So how to understand the question is the same as you understand the precedence question. So let's say I want to draw the activity C. In order to draw activity C, it comes from A and B. A and B are the predecessor for activity C. So let's say activity A comes from event number 1. This is A, let's say. Time is 5 weeks. And over here is activity B, time is 4 weeks. Okay, so if you see this situation, okay, where two activities A and B, they come from the same place, that is event number 1 or node number 1. Okay, two activities A and B come from the same place or same node or same event. Now, how to draw the next activity C? C must be drawn after A and B have been completed. C can only be completed after both A and B have been completed. So these two need to be combined. So in order to combine these two, we cannot bend the line. You cannot bend the line A and B over here and you draw C up here. Okay, this is event 1, let's say. We cannot bend the line. So that's why the arrow must always be in a straight line. So to draw this, because of two activities come from the same event, so we cannot simply combine in the end like this. Tak boleh. So how to combine? We need to use a line which we call as a dummy line. So how does a dummy line look like? Dummy line is a broken line like this. So this is a dummy line, a broken line. What is the function of dummy? That is to combine the activities which cannot be combined. Ni activity perlu di-combine. Tapi rule kata kita tak boleh combine by bending the line. So in order to connect and combine these two, we have to use a dummy line. So how to label a dummy? Dummy has its own name, D1. The next dummy, if you need to use more dummies, the next dummy, you will have to label it as D2, D3, D4 and D5. And what is the duration or masa untuk dummy? Dummy always has no duration. So the duration is always 0. So to combine these two, so we need to draw a dummy line from A going to B. So this is a dummy line. You label it as D1, time is 0, and this is your C. So this is the next number 2, and this is the next number 3. Why over here is number 2? Because of you start your dummy line from here, and you finish your dummy line up here. So it starts with lower number, it ends with higher number. So your C will be here. So this is situation A. Okay, the next rule which will be shown in situation B is like this. Okay, I'm going to use the same question or the same example here. Let's say you have drawn activity A like this. Activity A comes from event number 1. Activity B comes from event number 2, let's say. Okay, and you need to draw C. C comes from the predecessors are A and B. So we need to combine these two, A and B. So how to combine A and B in order to draw C? So when you see the nature of the activities or the predecessors, predecessor ni you tengok nature dia, they come from different place. They come from different events. Okay, just now situation A, these two come from the same place. Ni situation A tadi. Okay, A and B come from the same place. But this situation B, they have different nature. A comes from event number 1, B comes from event number 2. So to draw C here, we need to combine these two. So if you see this situation, how to combine? The rule says if two activities or more activities come from different place or different event, they can be combined and have the same ending. So aktiviti ni boleh di-combine, dicantumkan, dan boleh ada satu penutup di hujungnya. Like this. Kita boleh cantumkan macam tu. So how to combine? So when you see your lines like this, don't get stuck. You can always erase your lines. So sentiasa boleh padam you punya drawing. So we erase this first and try to redraw so that we can combine in the end. So A, kita condongkan sikit. It is still a straight line, cuma kita turunkan dia sikit. And B, over here, time is 4, and your C will come up from here. So number 1, number 2, and the next number will be here. You see, different drawing because of the nature of the predecessors. So these are the rules that you need to understand first. Okay, that is to draw the event number, the activity name together with the duration, situation A just now, and also situation B here, because they are very important.